Welcome back to Sports Day Thursday night, which is really our Friday night badge because we're not on Friday night. So I want to talk racing. It's a big weekend in racing, and it's where it all starts to happen. Of course, we've got the $15 million Everest in Sydney on Saturday afternoon, and in Melbourne we have the Caulfield Cup happening. So much going on. It's the fun time for racing, and this man knows so much about it from SEN Track. Andrew Bensley joining us on Sports Day. G'day, Bensley.
Good to talk to you, boys. And whether you talk about Sydney or talk about Melbourne, you talk about rain because both places are going to get it. Sydney had some really bad storms this afternoon. Caulfield's meant to be dumped on tomorrow and again on Saturday. So there's a lot of trainers really starting to get nervous that their horses won't appreciate either soft or heavy ground in both places.
Well, let's talk about the Everest first, Andrew. $15 million prize money on offer there. Is Thursday night, given the rain, is it too early to do our form for that race yet, or do you think you've kind of worked out who's going to win this?
Well, certainly from a wet track point of view, the two that will relish it will be Nature Strip and Eduardo, where horses like Classique Legend, who is first up, and Les Bridge has done a mighty job to get the horse back from Hong Kong, where he didn't race well there. But to be running on a heavy track first run, it's a big test, isn't it? Mars Crusader, who I think would have been, for mine, my top tip, but will it be able to make up a heap of ground like its normal racing pattern? It gets well back and runs on. Will he be able to give them a long break on heavy ground? That's the concern there. And even a horse like, Libertini is a little bit unknown. So, look, there's the mixture, where, as I say, a few trainers will be a bit nervous with the prospect. But I think Nature Strip and Eduardo, Chris Waller and Joe Pride, they're pretty happy with things.
Andrew, did you see this 4 or 5 years ago when they dreamt up the Everest and threw all the prize money at it, that it would be this big, that it would have captured the hearts and minds of racing fans everywhere?
Well, it's staggering, to think that, from the 2 Red Zell wins into Saturday's race, the slot owners, that many of them have stayed. They're putting a lot of money to buy the slot and to own the slot. But I think it's the build-up not only in Sydney, obviously, but I think it's the build-up around Australia. I'm not state against state. I'm saying that the racing, the whole racing picture, what a Saturday it is. The Everest and the Caulfield Cup, it's getting joint promotion. Everyone will be tuned in. They're able to have up to 10,000 at Randwick on Saturday for the first time in a long time, that they'll have some crowd there, so there'll be atmosphere. So, look, I just love the concept, and I'm not surprised because we know how good Volantes is in getting something going, and he got the brainchild of this from an American race, and while the American race has fallen away, the Everest is just building.
Just getting bigger and stronger, and it'll be great to have all of those fans there, and I'm sure that's going to lift everyone. If it does bucket down rain, you talked about some of those horses that may or may not handle it, but what about the track itself? What do we know from the past about the Randwick track? If it's been bucketing down and it's it's a really a heavy track, what does that mean? Where do you want to be, on the inside, the outside, or what?
I would say that we've had, because of the Sydney parts of Sydney being locked down, we had no racing at Rose Hill for a long time because that area was in total lockdown. So Randwick has had sort of an extra 1 or 2 meetings along the way. I'm not saying it's tired, but it's certainly had extra racing. I think that if we get the rain through the storms that we've had this afternoon and maybe again tomorrow, Saturday's meant to be okay. We've just got to get through tomorrow. But I think that they'll be getting to the middle part of the track. I think that probably by late in the day, someone might try and get up the inside and try and win a race like they normally do when no one's gone there. But I just think that Eduardo and Nature Strip, who will be racing right up on the pace, if not leading, then they'll be dictating. James McDonald on Nature Strip, Nashra Willer on Eduardo. They'll be dictating to the others where they want to go, and the rest of them will follow, and then it's up to the others to catch them. I just think that Eduardo's drawn to the inside of Nature Strip, so therefore you would think it'll be the first of the early stages of the running rail. But then when they come around the bend, Nash will be off and trying to find that good ground.
Yeah, looking at the forecast for tomorrow, lads, that rain should be gone by early afternoon, and you're right, Bensley, should be an okay day on Saturday and also Sunday. So, hey, how much is a slot in this race? How much does it cost?
It costs about $750,000, but everyone wants one. Like we saw James Kennedy, a Melbourne businessman who sponsors the Kennedy Oaks at Flemington. He's become a part of Melbourne racing, but he wants to make his brand national, and he bought a slot earlier this year, and like he had the Queenslander, he had Rothfire, but obviously he had to choose another horse. He's done that with I'm going off memory here. This is silly, isn't it? He chose which one did he choose? This is embarrassing. Embracer. I'm looking at the horse's name. Embracer for Gay and Adrian a few days ago. I will say that James has said, and even Cliff Brown, who trains the Inferno. Cliff's come back from Singapore. This horse has come back from Singapore. And Cliff says, I know I can't go because I'm in Melbourne. I don't want to do 14 days or anything like that because he's got a team of horses. But he's even surprised just how big the race is and how everyone wants to talk to him.
Yeah, incredible. I've got a question for you. I'll save it till the end because I don't want to ruin the interview. It's from my 14-year-old daughter about crowds and horses, but I'll hold off on that. Let's go to the Caulfield Cup, Andrew. Incentivize and Delphi. Any chance from their barriers?
Yeah, look, I was talking to Peter Moody earlier today, and he said there's more positives than negatives with Incentivize from barrier 18. Brett Preble will come across. Now, many of your Queensland listeners will know that this horse, when he raced with Steve Tregear, the original trainer at Toowoomba, he never used to lead. He always settled back sort of midfield or a bit better than that. He's come to Peter Moody. They've run in two races with not a lot of pace, so they've decided to go forward and lead. So it's not as if he's a dead-set leader. So Brett Preble will be able to come across at his own pace and, race in that first 4 or 5. So don't be surprised if Incentivize doesn't lead the Caulfield Cup. Delphi is one that's doing the 7-day backup. The lead we've got to take here is Damien Oliver. He doesn't, ride at 53 kilos. He's going to ride half a kilo over. He doesn't normally ride this light, but he's had a week to do it. His wife, Trish, has been helping him through eating the right things and preparing himself. He's been doing a lot of exercise away from the races. So I think we've got to take the line that Ollie thinks that Delphi can win a Caulfield Cup. Huge
race, isn't it, the Caulfield Cup? And it's, we probably haven't paid as much attention to it this week as we normally would. But we're talking about them being those two horses, the favourites being right on the outside barriers. But is there a likelihood of a few of the runners withdrawing because of the wet?
Look, being a Caulfield Cup, I just don't think so. I know there's some horses in the race that won't like the wet tracks, but a horse like Quick Thinker, who I'm not tipping to win it, but what I'm saying here is that Quick Thinker wouldn't have been running in the Caulfield Cup if it wasn't raining. He's a horse that was, I think he's come in already, from 80s into about 40s the last time I looked, and that's simply down to the horse's love of soft and heavy ground. Master of Wine's another one for Hawkes Racing. I think they were looking at running in Sydney this week. But then they thought, hang on a sec, Master of Wine likes the soft ground. Let's go to the Caulfield Cup. The horse has earned its spot. So suddenly Dean Holland's got a ride in a big $5 million race. So, look, while we talk about some negatives with horses, there are some there that will eat up the ground, and they're just two. I'm tipping Montefilia, guys, a horse trained out of Sydney by David Payne, a mare that, seemingly handles soft or heavy ground. I know there hasn't been too many winners of the Metropolitan in recent times that have gone on and won a Caulfield Cup, but I just love Jai McNeil as a jockey. He rides similar in some way to Hugh Bowman. He's been riding Montefilia in Sydney. Patient rider. I reckon she'll be finishing off really strongly, and, she's got a reasonably light weight for what she's done. And from that draw, just gets midfield, and Jai McNeil will bring her in. I like Montefilia to win the Caulfield Cup.
All right, before I get to my daughter's question, one important one for you and some news, the Savo. 3 Sydney jockeys can now travel to Melbourne for the Cox Plate, and 3 big ones, McDonald, Boss and Bowman.
Yeah, this is a big get for Cox Plate Day. We know that there's been obviously travel restrictions. Sydney's opened up a few days ago. Those 3 jockeys you mentioned had to go to Vic Health in the last 48 hours and put paperwork, and then they worked out exactly how they would do it. I think that I don't know this absolutely yet. It's still being bedded down, but if they're allowed to stay around, are they able to come and ride on Manikato night, the Friday night? We'll wait and see. But certainly James McDonald will ride Zaki, Glenn Boss to be reunited with last year's winner, Sir Dragonet, and Hugh Bowman will ride Mo'unga in the race. So it's 3 Sydney jockeys, and they've got real, strong 3 rides in the race.
Badge and I are useless punters, Andrew. I'm pumped. Okay,
he just gave us the trifecta in the Cox Plate.
You have too, mate. Yeah, I am so pumped about this Saturday. Starting this Saturday, what an incredible day of racing, and it's great that you have the Everest and the Caulfield Cup on the same day, because all the sporting world will be on these races on Saturday, which is only a good thing for the industry. Before I go, question from the 14-year-old daughter. With a crowd of 10,000 at the races, you sound a bit nervous. With a crowd of 10,000 at the races, do the horses realise there's a crowd there, and does it fire up the horses when there's a crowd?
Oh, in some way. Some I've heard some trainers say that horses that get on the edge, they've really appreciated no crowds there, that the horses are calm when they go out onto the track. So there's certainly some horses that get fidgety, but I will say there's jockeys that can't wait to have 10,000 there. The jockeys have missed it. Whether someone's yelling over the fence, having a go at them for a poor ride, they'll never take it for granted. Yeah, exactly. It's something that, it was a part of it until this COVID came along and ruined many people's lives. I think the jockeys can't wait to have some atmosphere on Saturday, and timing has worked out that it was originally going to be 5,000, but government announced earlier in the week they can have 10,000.
Yeah, so great,
majority, there'll be owners, there'll be participants, obviously, and lots of people just being a part of the day.
Oh, he's the best in the business. SEN Tracks, Andrew Bensley. Mate, I hope you're doing all right down there in Melbourne. We'll speak to you again throughout the whole Melbourne Cup campaign. Thanks for your time on Sports Day. We really appreciate it.
No, good on you, Badge and Jace. Hope it's a winning day. I hope I've helped your listeners, and all I can say is go Montefilia.
Top bloke, Andrew Bensley, knows his stuff as well. I'll take his tips over Chris Nelson's any day.
And mine.
Actually, have you ever tipped me a winner, Badge?
Absolutely.
Not.
Can't remember what it was. Incentivised. Last 5 races.
No, you have.
Oh, I didn't tell you about it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. I love it when I come to work on a Monday, Badge goes, Woogie, I got the first 4. I got the trifecta on the week. Nothing.
I've never got the first 4, but
trifectas.
I got a couple of tries.
Thanks. Hello. All I'm hearing is crickets. Anyway, this is Sports Day. The new Kia Niro electric SUV range has landed back shortly.